Hi, I'm Rodney Jones. Welcome to Guitar Masterclass. In today's class we're going to talk to you about the use of chromaticism in soloing and how it can really improve your playing. One of the most difficult things guitar players try to do is to figure out how to expand and connect the language they have. We all learn bits and pieces of ideas. We learn things off records, we learn things off of tapes, we learn things from our friends and from guitars we've heard. But how do we put that together in something that actually makes a good solo? And how do we connect all those pieces so that it sounds like a coherent piece of music? So many guitar players, you hear them and it sounds like they're playing idea to idea. They play one idea and you say, oh, and then they play the next idea. And it clearly sounds like two separate ideas and you can hear them thinking. Well, one of the benefits of chromaticism is it takes the thinking process out, because the notes, what the notes actually are is not as important as the feeling of them. And they're used to connect existing ideas you already have, thereby expanding your language. Everybody knows a pentatonic scale. But how do you break it up? If you play it the same way every time, there's an expression, if you do what you're doing, you'll keep getting the results you're getting. What we're talking about now is really about how to change the way that you're approaching playing these lines so that you can expand out of the existing language space you have into more ideas. Now, chromatics has been something that's been used for years and years and years. Charlie Parker used chromatics. Coltrane certainly used chromatics. Many of the great players in modern jazz have used chromatics a lot. So what makes them so special? What makes them a unique tool for you? Well, number one, they're pretty easy to play. They're chromatics. You don't have to worry about what intervals, what note you're starting on, what note you're ending on. You don't have to worry about what relationship to the chord scale it is, or what tone in the chord it is. It's the 7th, it's the 5th, it's the flat 5th. You don't really have those concerns because they're being used to connect existing things you already know. The things you already know hopefully sound good, and if they don't, that's another class on how to make the things you know sound good. But for this class we're going to talk about chromatics. Now I'll give you an example. It's a simple blues. If I play good blues and all that. Very little chromaticism. I don't think any chromaticism in that. Now watch the same language expand just through using chromatics. A line like this. 2/5. Expand it. Which is just very simple idea, that kind of thing. You can see in the tab literature, in the tab that's included in the book, you can see that the fingering of that is very simple. It's not complicated. All I'm doing is starting here and ending on a target note here, which is a blues scale. So I'm going. So instead of always being stuck playing there, I can go, or I can go chromatics down. So literally that's just chromatics. And one thing you'll notice is I'm not even concerned with, is it a pure chromatic? Am I hitting every note of the chromatic scale? No. The idea is to make it chromatic sounding. It's not, the idea is to not to adhere to some strict rule that, oh, it must be this chromatic, or it must be that chromatic, or I must exactly hit every interval. I'm not thinking about that. If you double a note, if you miss a note, no big deal. The idea is to play it with feeling. Now, a big pointer I'll give you, and one of the tips you'll notice on the guitar tip sheet, huge tip for you is this. Chromatics always sound better, in my humble opinion, M-I-H-O as they say online, in my humble opinion, when you play them starting on the end of a phrase. Listen to the difference if I play chromatics on the downbeat. Okay, that's probably what you were already doing. Do you like it? Probably not. Okay. Here it is on the and. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Hey, you too can be George Benson. You get the idea? One of George Benson's primary attributes is his tremendous feel and swing. Well, how does he do that? When he plays chromatics, he almost always plays them on the end. So you always have this sense of lifting, like da 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 da. Let me demonstrate. If I'm playing blues again, instead of playing, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I start on the and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1. And that feeling continues throughout the whole line. So like that, going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2. Listen how it sounds like I try to play it on the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. You be the judge. Okay? So I hope this lesson in chromaticism has helped you. It's an approach that I've used a lot with great results. I know George has used it as well, and a lot of other fine guitar players as well. Adding chromatics to your playing to the existing language you know is as simple as playing a chromatic scale starting on the and, any one, end of 1, end of 2, end of 3, end of 4, and landing on a phrase you know, or landing on a note that works. That's all you have to do. Start the chromatic anywhere, land on a note you know anywhere, and play something you know out of it. Simplest is the blues scale. As I said, you can start any B-flat blues. I can start any note. I'll start on B-flat, on F sharp. When you think, wow, blues, you can start on F sharp. But if you play chromatics, you don't even hear it. Chromatics down. What makes it sound tonal is I'm just landing on notes that are in the tonal center, notes that are in some scale that I know. And since I know the blues scale better than any, that's what I'm landing on. I'm just playing chromatic. Oh, that's in the... That's the F. When I went to City College many years ago, John Lewis, the great pianist from the Modern Jazz Quartet and musical director for the Modern Jazz Quartet, gave us an assignment, and that assignment was to play a tune and to connect the changes in the tune by chromatics. So if we were playing All the Things You Are, for example, we'd play, he would say connect the, look at the chord, if it's a minor, connect the first to the third, the minor third to the fifth, fifth to the seventh, like that. So we'd have to go. A whole tune. Like that. It was a great approach at the time. I didn't really appreciate it. I mean, I tried it out and I said, this is a little corny. I was more interested in learning the Coltrane, McCoy, Tyner type of lines. But, as with everything, experience and doing something for a while gives you a little different viewpoint on what it is you're doing. So I realize now that it wasn't really about the formula he was teaching, it was really about the sound. He was trying to say that, you know what, you know an F minor chord, so you have all the lines right there. You just take the primary intervals in the chord, the 1, the minor third, the 5th, and the 7th, the dominant 7th, and connect those. You have created from a chord lines, as opposed to just an arpeggio. I could play, or I go, you can think, how many times do you go hear guitar players and you ever hear them use that device? Do you hear them ever use it? No, most guitar players play very traditional. They play lines based upon the bebop language, and they play lines based upon diatonic scale patterns. Because, as I always say, if you practice patterns, you play patterns. If you practice music, you play music. Okay? So, what you want to do is to be the guitar player that is not like everybody else. Okay? And even if 1,000 guitar players buy this DVD and do what I'm telling you to do, still, that's 1,000 guys out of all the millions of guitar players. Think of this, if you're 1 in a million guy in China, there's 1,000 guys just like you. Because there's 1 billion people. So, you want to increase the odds. Anything you can do to separate yourself from the pack. Applying chromatics in this way is something you can definitely do. It will help you expand your language and not sound like everybody else. Not everybody knows that trick of playing chromatics on the end. It's sort of like a secret hiding in plain sight. It's an obvious thing now that you know it. But before you didn't know it, you might have played chromatics 1,000 times, but no one ever told you that. Okay? So now you know. So you have no excuse. So get to work. Start practicing chromatics. Come back next week for installment number 2, how to play 4ths and 5ths in the blues. Okay? Yet another thing you can do to be a little bit different. Hope to meet you. See you later.